Thank you very much for the introduction. I'm Chika Takatori from Kyushu University, the Department of Design, and I am very honored to receive this very nice opportunity. Today, I'd like to talk about the new possibility of urban agriculture in the with or post-COVID-19 era. This is a collaboration work with Chen Yudu. She is a student of my laboratory, master student. And this is the background. As you see, these pictures show the urban agriculture in the world's different cities, such as Copenhagen, Fukuoka, New York, Toronto, Seoul, as Sun Sensei introduced, and London. And as you see, recently there is a global attention to urban agriculture. The crucial role of urban agriculture is widely considered having positive implications for health and providing a complete set of ecosystem services, such as a production of food and biodiversity, sequestration of CO2, environmental protection, disaster prevention, and provision of cultural and recreational value. On the other hand, as Shimpo Sensei mentioned, if we compare urban agriculture form in Western Europe and Japan, we will notice that the urban properties are very different. This is influenced by the difference in the formation history of urban areas. The typical Western cities are homed by defining the boundary, such as wall, between the city and the rural area, and then gradually filling the inside with the city. On the other hand, in typical Japanese city, rural settlement gradually grow without their boundaries and eventually forming cities at large population clusters in many cases. It was not until the revised Town Planning and Zoning Act of 1968、都市計画法の改正まではこのように拡大していってまして、and that the law, after the law, the institutional drawing of lines was clearly intended in Japan. And these diagrams show the differences between the Western model and the Japanese model of urban agriculture. This is made by Professor Yokohari in the University of Tokyo. And as you see, in the Western style urban agriculture model, urban agriculture is mainly distributed as traditional urban allotment garden, Professor Shimpo Sensei mentioned, and also the urban land use such as vacant lot and rooftops in cities. On the other hand, in the Japanese style urban agriculture model, farmland is mixed inside the urbanization promotion area, 市街化区域ですね。Even after the zoning of urbanization control area and urbanization promotion area、この市街化区域と市街化調整区域というのが、市街化していくエリアと農地を保全するエリアということで、都市計画法からの改正から線引きされましたが、その中にもまだ農地が残っていて、農家さんが農業をやっているということです。Therefore, both farmland where farmers and urban agriculture where urban residents farm as recreation are both distributed. 都市住民による都市農業と農家さんが行う農業がどちらもこの中に混じり合っているというような状況になっています。In the era of urban expansion, farmland in the urbanization promotion area were considered to be converted into residential land. There are two directions of farmland in the urbanization promotion area. First is productive green. Farmers have protested against urbanization due to urbanization promotion area. In response to this movement, a productive green land system was established in 1992 to allow farming for a limited time of 30 years. And the taxation for the productive grain is at the same level as farmland. On the other hand, the Second is the farm transformed into a residential site where taxation at the same level as the residential site. However, from 2010, Japan has undergone a major change from an era of population growth to an era of population decline. Vacant lots, vacant houses, and abandoned farmlands have increased nationwide. Also, the percentage of elderly people in the farm population is 45% today. In the era of population increase, farmland in urbanization promotion area were perceived as negative. However, the method of however, in the population decrease era, farmland in urbanization promotion area were perceived as positive. People think that the farmland in urban areas should be maintained. However, the method of spatial management of urban farmland in the era of urban shrinkage have not yet been established. And in 2020, due to the worldwide spread of COVID-19, cities around the world were locked down under a state of emergency. There are no signs of people in cities around the world. Under the spread of COVID-19, social innovation is progressing through the introduction of remote work. This online seminar is also attended from all over the world through online. As you know, daily remote work is rapidly spreading, and we flexibly change places and time zones. For example, some people work from home for a few days a week and go to office for a day a week. There is a new demand and reliance on a good living environment. Comfortable workplaces and familiar greenery are essential for improving the quality of life. The left photograph, as you see, the left photograph is shows the vending machines which sell vegetables. A farmer in Tokyo says that there was a long line in front of the vending machine in the COVID-19 situation, and this shows the relationship between the city and, in May, the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries surveyed 2 urban residents in specific cities in the 3 major metropolitan areas. And as a result, more than 50% of residents think that the urban agriculture is important in the COVID-19 situation. And this shows the relationship between the city and farmland and between the farmer and the urban resident before COVID-19. Basically, there was a division between the farmers who farm on the farmland and the urban resident who lives in the city and go to work. In the COVID-19 era, urban residents are becoming flexible in how they spend their time. In addition, vacant lots are increasing in urban areas. Under such circumstances, we should increase not only the multi-functions of farmlands, such as recreation, health, and disaster prevention, but also we should increase the multi-functionalities of people by considering how people use their time. In the new planning theory of urban shrinkage and post-COVID-19 era, the division of land and people up to now is being fused. And in other words, time management that connects land and people is important. From the viewpoint of multifunctionality of farmland, it is necessary to set the gradation of functions based on the history of the land with respect to farmland. For example, productive farmland should be preserved. The large farmland of good accessibility should be utilized as agricultural park. And farmland which have an important role of disaster mitigation should be preserved too. And from the viewpoint of multifunctionality of people, the gradation of functions should be set such as a professional farmers multi-worker, NPO, and volunteer, and recreational youth. In this situation, the new indicator is time. So we propose the two indicators of time from the viewpoint of land and people. As for land, labor density is an indicator that calculates annual working hours required for management per unit area of land. And the meter is the hour divided by R. As for people, personal labor densities is the indicator that calculate annual working hours and work content that can be dropped by one person, and the meta is hour. We will calculate those two indicators for each type of land and people. The case study site is Kita-nagoya City that is located on the urban periphery of Nagoya metropolitan area, and which is located in the central area of Japan. This left figure shows the map of land use in Kita-nagoya City. The red line is the border of the urbanization control area and urbanization promotion area. A lot of productive green are distributed in the urbanization promotion area. And in the southern farmland area, a new agricultural park is planned for the recreational use for urban residents. First step is calculating the labor densities. First, we evaluated the appropriateness of farmland in order to classify them based on their multifunctionalities. We evaluate agricultural productivity based on topography and disaster risks such as flooding and the accessibility of urban residents to farmland by public transportation and road. Next, based on these evaluations, we visualized farmland suitable for highly conserved production green areas, disaster prevention farms, agricultural parks, and community gardens. And this graph shows the labor densities of each type of farmland. Crop field for vegetation or orchard needs more labor than paddy field. And next, we calculated the personal labor densities. First, we conducted a questionnaire survey to 300 farmers in Kita-nagoya City last year. This is the result. Over 40% of farmland owners answered that they have no intention to releasing the productive green areas. In many cases, they have a successor of the agriculture. On the other hand, around 26% of owners want to rent their productive green. The largest reason was that it is a burden to manage the farmland by myself. And the Japanese agricultural cooperative, 日本の JA ですね、was the most popular lender が貸す相手として最も有力だということが出てきました。On the other hand, we conducted an online questionnaire survey for 500 urban residents in Kita-nagoya cities and Nagoya cities. Around 40% people want to do agriculture in community gardens, and 30% of people want to use agricultural park. This graph shows the personal labor count of each age group. As you see, the 30s and 60s wanted to farm for a long time. On average, many people wanted to do agriculture 250 hours a year, or about 5 hours a week. This graph shows the relationship between the personal labor account and personal labor density of those who are already farming. We can see several different types of working styles. One is a professional working style. In this working style, workers are employed and worked with high annual labor count, but with very low labor densities. It means they worked very rationally. Only central residents in garden or kitchen garden worked very densely, but with very low labor account, 5 hours a week. And the third group of working style type is voluntary working style, in which labor count and labor densities are both low. They work several times in a year as volunteers. These working style types have their meaning, and the appropriate mixture of them are needed in the programmatic management of farmland. And this is a final slide. We are now trying to matching the spatial distribution of labor densities and spatial distribution of personal labor count. As a future research, we would like to create a dynamic matching system in with or post-COVID-19 era by using ICT technology in the collaboration with information field expert. I hope we could discuss later. And thank you very much for listening. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me anytime. Thank you very much.